Every night, my 3-year-old son and I have a bedtime routine. He gets to pick out a book, or if he's been really good that day, maybe 2. And so we read those books, we read his Bible, we sing a really old Bill Gaither song, and we go to bed. And one of his favorites is Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. And I'm sure you guys have read it, you know what it's about. But just in case, it starts out with this guy who's saying, hey, you really need to try Green Eggs and Ham. It's really, really good. And the guy's like, well, I don't like it. And the whole book is him trying to coerce him to eat Green Eggs and Ham in all these different settings with all this big host of characters. And eventually it gets to the end of the book. And he eventually tries it, and he goes, oh, I liked it the whole time. And then they recount everything. He said, I like it here, I like it there, I like it everywhere, and it's wonderful. And Hudson has this really unique and interesting memory that after we read that book the first time, it kind of marked his experience and what he knows about the book. And every time since that he's picked that book out off the shelf to read it, he has said, let's read this book, Daddy. And so we sit down and we read it, and it gets to the point and it said, I do not like Green Eggs and Ham. And Hudson, because he knows what happens at the end of the book, every time the character says, I don't like Green Eggs and Ham, he goes, but you will. Like, you're gonna like them. And so we can't get through the book without every time, I don't like them here, I don't like them there, I do not like them anywhere. And Hudson, again, goes, you're going to like them. And we get to the end of the book, and he's like, see, I told you you're going to like them. And I thought that was such an interesting perspective for Hudson to take, that he knew the end of the story, and that marked his interactions with the story. And so today I want to talk about hope, and the hope that we can know and experience and have because we know the end of our story. We know the work of Jesus, and that can mark our encounters and the experiences that we have here in this life. And Paul says in the book of Romans, he says, I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. So he acknowledges God as the source of hope, and it's this source of hope that he's praying will then fill God's people with joy and with peace. With joy and with peace. And what I find so interesting about all of these things, about hope and joy and peace, is they're all future-minded. They're all saying regardless of present circumstances, regardless of past experiences, I'm looking forward and keeping my eyes, my heart, my affections, my attention, I'm keeping it all fixed on something that is greater than what I am experiencing right now. You see, hope is saying there is something coming that is worthwhile what I am going through right now. There's something coming that is greater than what I'm experiencing right now or what I've experienced in the past. Joy is saying there's something coming down the pipeline that is far greater than what I am experiencing right now, the emotions that I'm experiencing right now. Peace is saying God is actively working to make all things right, and I know at the end of the story that God will reconcile all the broken and dislocated pieces of the universe to himself. So I'm going to put my hope in that experience, and because God, who is the source of all hope, is actively working inside of us, he will fill us with joy, and he will fill us with peace, that we can know that regardless of present circumstances, something greater is coming. And then Paul says, then you will overflow. You will overflow. It will just bubble up outside of you with a confident hope. A confident hope. Not just saying regardless of present circumstances something better is coming, but I am rooted in confidence. It marks all of my interactions, that regardless of what I'm experiencing, I can hold fast to this idea that God is actively in the process of restoring what is broken in our world. And so my encouragement for you today is this, that God is actively restoring those broken things. And my prayer for you is that you would experience from the God of all hope, Him filling you with joy and peace, and that will move you to a place of confident hope in Him, because we know the end of the story. We know that Jesus has defeated sin and death. We know that He's reconciling all things to Himself, and we know He's working